This one, you've kind of already alluded to this, and it's very basic, but I couldn't do it without. And that is, as you're getting closer to that $1 million marker, avoiding the temptation of adding more services to get past that seven-figure dollar amount. It's the fastest way to grow revenue, add more services, sell more to your existing customers. It makes a lot of sense because you don't have to spend money on customer acquisition costs, but it is almost always one of those decisions that 3, 4, 5 years later, you have to undo, whether you're trying to like sell the business to someone else and they're like, what's all these random services that add 5%, 10%, 15%? And a lot of times I find it's the person that's at 600,000 or 700,000. They're like, if I just added those one or two things, I could get to $1 million. And it's just this number. But to get there, they had to compromise the simplicity of their model. And they underestimate the complexity it adds to admin, training new technicians. And it's back to what we've talked about before, like the whole concierge model of like doing all services. Why has that not worked out? In a way, it's because it's like every service requires a slightly different go-to-market motion. It requires a slightly different way of marketing or advertising or selling on the phone or how you train the admin person. And so each of those things add that level of complexity. And it's so hard as an operator when you're like, well, I'll do it myself. But at $1 million plus, that's when you start to feel that pain. And if your goal is $1 million, 20%, and being able to walk away from the business for a week or two and take a vacation, one of those is going to come into jeopardy if you start adding in 5, 10, 15 services. And I see that as like the trademark of home services that are gunning for seven figures is just, I'll get there by adding more services. And a lot of times I find it's because the service that they're currently providing got hard. So they kind of started to stall out. They had 250 customers. They needed 350 to get to the $1 million marker. But man, I've been butting my head up against that. I can't figure out route density. I can't figure out my advertising. I don't really want to really laser on different channel. I'll go add another service. And it's the easy button for just adding more revenue.
Yeah. And my argument there is, in your example, 350 was the first service. When you add the second service, that one's probably going to come in at about 150. The third service is going to be about $70,000 in revenue. It just gets worse because you never solve the underlying problems that got you stuck at 350.
Yeah.
But I mean, I couldn't agree more. If anybody ever says, hey, what are the 3 to 5 things that are going to get me to $1 million the fastest? This is like almost at the very top of the list.
Yeah.
And I've talked about before, I've learned it the hard way. I mean, CityTurf is a bigger business and we've cut things and we've added some stuff back. We still have too many things. We still do too many things.
I think the creation of a marketing calendar is a really good way to kind of figure out whether you have two things too, because it forces you to ask yourself, am I trying to like squeeze in 5 different services into a 2 or 3 month window? Or are these services where they have inverse demand curves? I can move them off in different parts of the year. And that's one of the first things I'll do if I think someone has too many services. I'm like, okay, let's look at 12 months. When do you pitch these? And they're like, well, they all happen right here in spring. I'm like, well, then what's the point? Like, if you just deployed that same energy, whether it be shots on goal when it comes to marketing and put that towards the other core services, you'd probably make up more revenue just doing that.
Yeah, I believe it. And I'll tell you, because I'm back involved in the CityTurf business, one of the other things I've come to conclude around this, I'll give a very specific example. I always put fertilization and weed control. That's a service. That's like 9 services. And here's my example. So if you're a fertilization weed control company, like, you fertilize, you kill weeds, but you also are dealing with all the issues that come with it. Why do I have a brown spot? Why is this spot of my yard yellow? Why is there no grass growing here? It's like, why can I pull up my carpet? Why is this spot soggy? It's all part of the fertilization weed control thing because you either get blamed or it's part of grass, and that's what you do. So now you're in the grub business, you're in the insect business, you're in the disease business, you're in the shade business, you're in the irrigation business, all because you just got into fertilization weed control. And so when I think about the marketing calendar, I look at the CityTurf business like, wow, we make hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars just doing grub treatments. We make hundreds and hundreds of thousands just doing fire ant treatments. We make hundreds of thousands of dollars, doing aeration. Those are all actually we kind of separate them. I know the revenue for them, but they all showed up in our business because we did fertilization weed control. We never were in the grub business mowing lawns. We only ended up in the grub business because we did fertilization weed control. And this is where it gets crazy. And so as we talk about services, like most people probably don't think about this way because I hadn't really. CityTurf is, mowing, fertilization weed control, tree and shrub health, pest control, and irrigation. That's the business. No. We're like I mean, pest control's got rodents. Pest control's got termites. It's like pest control's got all this other stuff. So who knows how many service lines we're in, and most of them make no money. But you still have to train the team. You still have to educate people. You still have to be able to talk about it. The office still has to be able to support it. Like, I went into this whole thing like, think about that complexity.
I was even thinking the other day about like space on your website. Like, it's pixels. Like, you only have so many
100%.
pixels that people are going to see. How many of them are going to get split up into 20 different areas? I have to say it. I have to have a menu tab. Right? I need to show a picture.
SEO value for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, when we redid the City Turf website, my previous website, when you click on services, the menu was like, I mean, it took up the whole screen. It was about half the page. It was all the junk we do because, again, if you have arborists, like, think about how many, it's unlimited. The diseases, the insect stuff you have to deal with, the feeding, like, so you are in so many lines of business. And so I dream, like, I joke, like, if City Turf were to ever, I think Philip and I have talked about this, but if we were to ever expand, I am absolutely certain, I'm sure Philip will go along with this, we would only do fertilization, weed control, pest control in the new market. Yeah. That's all we do. Because it's just too much. If
you were talking to someone that might be thinking the same thing for their business, they've heard us for the past few months ramble every single week about adding more services, and they feel like they're bloated. If you've built a $1 million home service business, but you're struggling to get to the next level at $10 million in annual revenue, I've created a private community just for you. It's called Home Service Boardroom, because what got you to $1 million is all the work, the hustle, the grind, figuring out your leads, your website. But what gets you from $1 million to $10 million is learning the skill of leadership, finding other great talent and managers to work for you. If that's of interest, go check out MikeAndy.com/school or see the link in the description.